Hey, Madam Clerk, could you virtually do the roll?
Yeah, Mr. Bozen.
Here.
Mr. Amos.
Here.
Mr. Morrissey.
Here.
Mrs. Klein.
Here.
Mr. Boyce.
Here.
Mr. Grieder.
Here.
Mrs. Juon. Here.
All right, thank you. If you would please join me in a moment of silence. All right, thank you. The pledge will be by Martin Peterson, City Attorney.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty, justice for all.
So I didn't even have to move already.
We should do that more.
It's stuff like that. All right, Mrs.
Motion to approve the agenda as presented and the minutes of the June 15, 2020 regular session as presented.
Second.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. First item up, we're gonna socially distance and ask Michelle T. Meyer to come up for Waterloo Community Foundation First Responder presentation. All right, we'll go right here, right there, there, and I think you're in the way, Mr. Dr. Esquire. No, I didn't know if you could see. Did you want to get a picture?
Yes, I will. When you
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so we have a special presentation right now from our Waterloo Community Foundation.
Thank you, Mayor Hart and the council. Today we want to come forward and to recognize from the Waterloo Community Foundation. We were established to really serve the Waterloo citizens, and we realized that nobody could predict the pandemic, and we wanted to make sure that we recognize our first responders because we know that they went above and beyond the call of duty and still doing it and will continue to do it. So we, the board, decided to put out a charge to put $5,000 up to ask other people to donate. And we came up with $22,000, and there's still going to be more people giving. And if you want to continue to give to this initiative, please do through the Waterloo Community Foundation website. The 5 organizations that we decided to sponsor with our initiative was Allen Hospital, Mercy One, the police and the fire department, and People's Clinic, because those are the organizations that's meeting the needs of the Waterloo community. And today we have Major Joe Lipo here, and you got to introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm Teresa Hoffman, on the board, one of the original board members.
And so we have checks that we're going to pass out today to Major Joe Lipo and to Lieutenant Jason Hernandez from the fire department. And we would just like to thank you for giving this opportunity to let the Waterloo community know how much the first responders mean to us and what they have done for our community. And gentlemen, thank you. And to all of the first responders, thank you.
This is certainly a welcome gift. We really appreciate it. It's been a tough few months here for us since March, so every little bit helps, and we really do appreciate the efforts. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to briefly say on behalf of Waterloo Fire Rescue that we appreciate our relationship with the Waterloo Community Foundation and very much appreciate this. Thank you.
All just want to say to Michelle and all your leadership and to the board, we appreciate it. Times have been tough around here, and all these gentlemen, fine gentlemen and women, have smiles on their face, but behind the scenes, they have been working hard. It's not always been good, but they have been stepped up and they have met the challenge. And there's such shining examples of how we all should be in times of crisis. And the generosity and support, the idea to even think about our first responders. I want to thank you so much for the bottom of our hearts. This is what community building is about. This is who Waterloo is about, and we appreciate all your efforts. So God bless you and thank you. All right, thank you so much. It is now time for oral presentations. Your opportunity to address the council on non-agenda related items. Is there anyone in the audience or on the telephones? Please come up, sir.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
this is Eric Dunat, 610 East 4th Street.
Yes, sir.
I have some remarks regarding an item that's later on the agenda, but I didn't know whether I was going to be able to stay for that item.
What item is it?
About appointments to the Waterloo Commission for Human Rights.
About appointments?
To the Waterloo Commission on Human Rights.
Yeah, are you not in favor of them, or?
Yes, I am in favor of them. I am in support of them, but I didn't know whether I was going to stay for that part of the portion of the meeting.
Right, well, what's your comments, Eric?
Okay, as I said, this is Eric Dunat, 610 East 4th Street, Waterloo. My comments are that we do endorse these individuals for bringing them on to the Waterloo Commission for Human Rights, and we welcome them, and we recommend that they be appointed.
All right, thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. State your name and address for the record.
Name's David Kelly. This is my wife Darla. We live at 433 Park Haven Drive in Waterloo. And one of our neighbors sitting there is Alice Barr. She also lives at on Park Haven Drive. And we just wanted to address the city council about the ongoing water issues in our neighborhood. And I know we're not alone with the problems. There's other hot spots in Waterloo, but we just want to plead our case. First, I'd like to thank the city workers. I was up at 12:30 last night, and they were at our corner at Park Haven and Muncie putting the pumps out to help alleviate the problems in our neighborhood. So those guys are great, and we really appreciate the work that they do. We have lived in our neighborhood for 15 years. And this has been an ongoing problem for at least 12 of those 15 years. We use a combination of 3 different systems in our basement to keep sewer water out. We have a ball float valve, a backflow valve, and a knife valve all installed in our laundry room to keep water from coming through the sewer. We've also put in a backup system, a sump pump system that runs on water pressure if we lose power. We've had a very extensive insurance claim back in 2010 where we lost the contents of our basement, our finished basement, because of flooding. I know that budgets are tight. Everybody's budget is tight. We just want to plead our case. We really appreciate the work that everybody in city council and the city workers do. This is an area that has had problems for years, and it's very stressful. We've both missed a lot of work trying to babysit our basement, middle of the night, pumping water. And we just plead our case to you folks and appreciate whatever you can do to help us out. Thank you.
Mr. Kelly, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
So is it normally due to like the rain event we've seen, or is it all the time?
It's the rain events like this.
Okay.
We've got two of the pumps running in our neighborhood within about a block and a half. We've got one at Upland in Muncie. We also have one at Parkhaven in Muncie. And our neighbors to the north have water in their basement today. Our neighbor to the west has water in his basement today. The house to the east is a rental. She typically gets water during these events. So what we've done has alleviated our problem, but we have to be home in order to initiate the knife valve. Otherwise, we get flooded like everybody else.
And up late at night, huh?
Right.
Okay.
And
All right.
today, the second pump, it must have run out of gas or something happened to it, and I heard it shut off, so I called, and the city was out there within 10 minutes, and they fixed whatever the problem was, but within that 10 minutes, our neighbor across the street texted me and said, I'm getting water coming up already, just because that one pump had shut down just for 10 minutes.
That quickly.
And
Yeah.
she's pumping water literally out of her house.
And you communicate directly with waste management in those areas too, okay?
Yes, and they've been very responsive.
We're
but-
pretty much on first name basis with everybody.
I mean, your name sounds familiar to me. I'm wondering, have we spoken before?
Yes, we have. You've been very kind, but,
Wow.
and, and we know that it's a problem that's not just us, but the stress
Right,
that it's
absolutely.
causing over all of these years. We're contemplating feeling the need to have to move from our home just because we just can't handle it anymore.
Right.
We don't want to.
You don't want to lose.
We love the neighborhood.
You don't want to lose your memorabilia.
Right. So,
Every time
and we're not
something like
alone.
that happens.
We realize we're not alone. There's a lot of people that probably have it, maybe even worse. But it's got to be addressed.
And it was also communicated, I think, by the city engineer that they have identified where the problem is
Right.
and what the problem is. But he said we're probably at least a couple years down the road as of right now to get any attention. So I guess what we're hoping is there anything else that can be done? Can our neighborhood, because of its severity, be moved up on the schedule?
Right. And also understanding, at least understanding the scope of the work that it may take to do a project as large. So thank you for being here. Jamie and Randy, are you guys online, on the phone?
Thank you.
Thank you. Are you guys on the phone?
Yes.
So you're familiar with the Kellys and with Park and Muncie and in that area, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Can you, tell us the amount of rain that we received? Because I don't even know the actual numbers. And then in the future, Jamie, do you know, have we done modeling in this area or where we're headed at in the future?
I can.
Not all at once.
Yep. Yeah. So this Randy Bennett, Public Works Division Manager. So yeah, as far as kind of addressing the rain first, we've had a significant amount of rain, especially over the last 24-hour period. I know when you look at the rain total amount, it varies depending on where that's being recorded. As far as the airport showing 4 inches, we've had some residents that showed, a little over 8 inches in the last 24-hour period. I guess, the one thing that we're kind of looking at is if you just take a Blackhawk Creek, it's looking at cresting at 17 feet on Wednesday, which the last time it has done that, or close to that height was in 2008, which it had 2 crests, one at 17.5 and then another one at 19. So it's, we definitely got a significant amount of rain in that area to have the forecast to get up to that height, which kind of stands to reason, some issues there. As far as some of the long-term planning, we've had some modeling done, working with AECOM on that, and as part of the consent decree to move forward with the improvements, and that's where it's kind of at right now as far as how we're going to eventually move forward with the best option for the repair there. A lot of it has to do with it's kind of an area where it makes a lot of jogs, where it kind of crosses 63 back and forth, and the main thing that we're looking at trying to do is straighten that out, so you don't have some of those and create those bottlenecks. And if you'd like to add anything to that, Jamie, you can.
Jamie Knutson, city engineer. The only thing that I would add to that is that we have done specific modeling in that area, looking to see if there were anything that we could do specifically to try to help relieve that area. There's some different connections that we looked at, trying to reroute some sewers. Nothing really provided any relief, at least as far as the short term. And as Randy said, long term, there are some plans that we know that we need, and improvements we know we need to do along there, but we're working with AECOM to get through those.
So do we, at some point, so right now we're continuing to gather information. We are in the middle of a consent decree. There are some changes that need to be made. Do we know those yet, or would those be coming down the pike, or is that AECOM still needs to do that, or tell me where we're at?
A lot of it's in the works, and then hopefully we should have something here in the near future.
So, because I think so we are moving forward. We just need, you're getting me confused now.
Yeah, because part of the modeling, I guess to kind of address that portion was whether or not, we had different service areas where we looked at removing the sump pumps and things like that. And so that was kind of part of what we were looking at. And while that worked in different service areas, kind of part of that modeling that was done by AECOM, it doesn't appear if that would probably alleviate all of those problems. A lot of it would have to be as far as straightening out that line and taking some of those bottlenecks out. So that's kind of where it's at, so we has been moving forward. It's just trying to see as far as what actually is the best option for us to move forward.
All right. And
I guess I do have one more thing I'd like to just kind of say to, everybody that is watching, if you did have any, sewer problems as far as backups or anything like that, we would like for you to call our Waste Management Services at 319-291-4553 to report any of those issues.
Okay. All right. Is there anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Evening. I'm Alice Barr, and we live at 438 Park Haven. We're also neighbors, and we've been living there for about 47 years, and we've also had problems with our basement. Every time it rains, we all cringe. All the neighbors start worrying about what's going to happen. We had a bathroom in our basement, and the water was coming up through the toilet. Now we've had to tear out the whole basement. Now we don't have a bathroom down there. Right now, we're just worrying about the drain. But if we put another bathroom in, a toilet, are we going to have those problems again with the sewer? And we're thinking, we're getting older, and we're getting very tired of the deal of having to worry about water every time we turn around. And so the other problem is worrying about if you go to sell your house. So that's why we're just concerned about what is going to be done, if anything can be done with the city to help us out.
Yes, ma'am.
So just wanted to state we've called quite a few times, and so I thought it was time to actually make a statement.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
So thank the city workers too. Again, they've been very helpful for us, and we really appreciate them coming out with the pumps.
But we need some solutions, right?
Okay, yes.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you. All right. Is there anyone else that would like to address the council? Yes, ma'am. Please come up, state your name and address for the record.
Okay. My name is Passion Anthony, and I live at 228 Mill Street. This is a Klein Williams. I don't know your address.
139 Unity Square.
Okay. So basically, me, him, and Jamad Salas, he's actually downstairs, so he'll be coming up. We are planning like a Juneteenth event. We realized didn't want occur. So since we decided last minute, we decided to do it in July. And with that being said, we were wondering if we can be granted with having this event. So basically, the outline of what we wanted to do. Sorry, my mask is kind of messing with my talking. So basically what we want to do with this event is have it in a park or so. And with it, we do plan on being safe. So definitely encouraging social distancing, having hand sanitizer, masks, and sanitizing wipes on hand for the event. But so far having it in the park, we're hoping to have like some local artists come, local vendors come as well. And then kind of educating the public or so on what Juneteenth is and why it's important to the Black community and why it should be like a federal holiday and stuff and what the importance of it. So we're hoping to do it maybe like July 3rd from like 5 to 8 in Lincoln Park. But we did also was looking into that if it was to rain or whatever bad weather was to occur that day, maybe hosted in Waterloo Center for the Arts. So we went to come present it today to see maybe if you guys could get behind us with this event. It's like for me, and I know for him and Jamad, it seems like really important for us to do this for the community since it wasn't originally had by my godmom this year or so. I know she was doing like a virtual thing, but we wanted something more on the physical side of it.
Right.
Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I talked to Jamad. I don't know if he told you, but I gave him the numbers to Leisure Services. There is a process to go through for the parks and those things. So I'm hoping that was communicated.
He did say that part, but he also said that to come here besides listen to what you guys have going on, but also kind of present it to you guys as well.
Okay. All right. We thank you. And the city is behind Juneteenth. We just did a dual proclamation between both cities as well. And Juneteenth is important to Black history, but it is also important to American history.
Exactly.
As well. It's a part of who we are as a country. So, we support. I think you made the contact. So, if anything, if there's something that needs to be voted on, it'll be next week. Okay. I'm not sure, but yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right. Thank you. First time coming to council meeting?
Yeah.
You did a tremendous job.
Thank you.
All right. You too, I guess. All right. Mrs. Klein.
I want to piggyback on what the neighborhood people were talking about. I'm reminded of 2004 when George W. Bush came for a speech, and the roads were so awful that he started his speech by turning to Mayor Hurley and saying, "Mayor, it's time to fix and then he used an expletive, damn roads." Well, you know, I got a call today from Bob Farr, who owns the Budweiser dealership. They're underwater out there. Denso's underwater out there. Their loading dock is underwater. They've got millions of dollars worth of electronics in that building. And Hoffman Produce Farms called me. They are just desperate. They've lost acres of valuable food products. Not only that, that's their customer base gone for this year on top of COVID. And each of those people told me that this goes back 20 years or more. So it isn't just the current deluges that we are getting. It's just a rain event. Almost any rain event of any size is going to give you that problem. And I would like also Cheryl Powell on Devonshire. She has her 8 to 10 neighbors cleaning out their basement right now on Devonshire and Pioneer. And Doug Snyder on Park Haven cleaning out their basements. If you drive over in that neighborhood off Amesboro, you're going to see stuff piled on the curb. They're tired of it. 12 years we hear. I don't know how many years was. You've lived there 47.
Goes back to close to 30.
Yeah, we're always in the process of figuring it out, aren't we? We're always close to a solution or close to beginning something. I call upon the city council to begin. Let us not spend another dime on another shiny object that's new and improved. Let's not abandon our established neighborhoods. Let's get into it. Let's fix this. Let's make this a priority. Let's make it a priority right now so that we can start this year or next and get it done. that's my plea to the city council, please.
All right, thank you. Thank you. All right, council members.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Grieder.
so it's late June and we're entering what should be in a normal year, a holiday, where we would be out and having hot dogs and some of us illegally firing off fireworks. But this isn't a normal year. And we've all known the impact of COVID-19. And so my plea is this for our constituents and all of us is that I know we're tired. We're tired of lots of things, but COVID isn't tired. And today, Iowa's reproduction rate hit 1. And that doesn't seem like a big deal, but what that means is that for every person who has COVID-19, they will infect another person. And in order for things to safely be open, which we all very much want, we need to get that number below 1. So I would encourage everyone to wear a mask, wear a face shield, cover up, because you might have COVID-19 and be asymptomatic and not know it. It's a simple act of kindness, like wearing a seatbelt. It's something that keeps our community safe. It helps make sure that we can start to enjoy those things, start to take part in our economic livelihood. But we all need to do that. So I would strongly encourage everyone, and I see lots of people right now in the city council chambers doing it, to please wear a mask, please wear a face shield when you go out.
All right, thank you. Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Morrissey.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, just a couple things. First of all, the water issue. I mean, our name is Waterloo, and maybe with all the water that we're getting as a result of global warming and climate change, maybe we could rename ourselves Waterloo, because we're getting more than our share of water, and it's happening much more frequently than historically it ever has before. And so, having said that, with the comments from the public, I mean, I think Waterloo, Jamie, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but we have 17 or 19 watersheds in our immediate area. You know, like we got problems of Sink Creek. The people that just spoke, their area, Burden Creek. We've got Clark Street, which has been an issue for a couple decades now. And Burden Creek has been an issue for, Mr. Mayor, as long as I've known you on council. It's been an issue, and then before. And I thank you, I thank Jamie, I thank Randy Bennett for talking to Ms. Frazier out there on St. Croix, and for doing the work that was done to help out that area where the McGowans, Linda and Dan McGowan live. But what I would like to ask Jamie and or Noel to come up with is I would like the total cost to the city of Waterloo that is necessary to address all the watershed residential issues that we have in Waterloo. And I just named a few of those watersheds where there are problems. So if we're going to address one of them, I'd like to know the cost of all of them that we would have to put out in order to alleviate, improve, or correct the problems that there are, Mr. Mayor.
All right.
Mr. Mayor.
Let me finish. So, Jamie, Noel, and Randy, you guys want to come up with how much it costs to fix every water problem in the city of Waterloo. If you can do that, please. Maybe talk to AECOM, Strand, and whoever else. And also make sure we add in there the fact that we do have a consent decree that we need to some cost in there as well. So if you can get that for us. I can talk to one of you tomorrow so we can see in the next week or two when you can get that number for us. That'll be great. Ms. Juon.
Yeah, I have several things. First, I want to again, but publicly this time, thank the Committee on the Fair Chance Initiative. We had a committee that we worked with starting in January of HR professionals, business owners, city staff, and they did a phenomenal job, and I've gotten great feedback from the public who listened to that presentation. And so thank you to everyone. And a reminder to the public that if you haven't watched it yet, you can do that on the Waterloo website, but also let us know if you have any questions. And again, it was well received. Secondly, I'm going to be on vacation next Monday, the 29th, and that's the reason I have asked all council members to review a travel policy, some of the proposals that we sent out to you. I think today, we tried to get it out Friday, but I was having some computer problems, so I apologize. But it was sent out to you today. If you could please look at that, and if you see any corrections, please let me know personally. I'd appreciate that. So Michelle will work that into a policy. Then just want everybody to know, I'm sure every council member is getting a lot of complaints, if you will, on the fireworks. One lady told me that she's been having the fireworks going off in her neighborhood since early May, and she calls the police. And again, by the time the police get out there, the person shooting off the fireworks is long gone. I just want to encourage the police to follow up with those complaints because they really are annoying for a lot of people. And then finally on the water, as I'm sure everyone, all council members have been getting a lot of different concerns and complaints on the water. As Mr. Morrissey and Mrs. Klein said, we do need to do something about this, but keep in mind, first of all, I think we have ignored our deferred maintenance as a city for way too long. The increases that Mr. Knutson presented to us about a year ago are designed to address those. And so he has put together a lot of the costs, a lot of the projects. He is working on them. I talked to him today about the Budweiser and that whole area. They're working on them. They have them prioritized, and they do have money set aside to address them. So I don't want people to think that we're not trying to address these problems. We as a council did approve a fee increase, and kudos to us for doing that, because in the past that was not done, and therefore I think it's complicated the situation that we're in. So credit to the council members that voted for those fee increases. While it's always painful to support fee increases, it was absolutely critical for us to do that so we can address these problems that have been around for years. Thank you.
Ms. Juon, thank you very much for that, because if you would have listened to people, you would have think that within the last 4 or 5 years, the city of Waterloo has done nothing to address the consent decree, to address some of the major water challenges we have. So I want to thank the staff that are out there working, that are still responding. Not everything will be fixed right now, and listening to council, you got about a $3 or $4 million fix on one side, about a $4 million fix on the other side. I think it'll be good for us to be able to revisit exactly where we're at, to hear how that's prioritized, because everyone wants their issues done first. So we look forward to that presentation, from where we've come over the past several years to where we need to go in the future. So definitely look forward to that presentation.
Thank you.
Ms. Juon, you want to close oral presentations? Anyone?
Okay, motion to close oral presentations, receive comments, and place on file.
Second.
Motion's been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Oral presentations closed.
Motion to approve the consent agenda with the addition to number 1A1, bills payment in the amount of $4,360,992.35 to receive, approve, and place on file.
Second.
A motion has been made with the second. Council?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Morrissey.
I would request that we take off for discussion only. I know that we'll have to bring it up again, but A2 and then A9 through A15.
The transfers you want taken off that comply with state law, and you want what else taken off?
A9 through A15, Mr. Mayor.
All right, so all the other items, Madam Clerk?
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
Mr. Amos?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
Mr. Grieder?
Yes.
And Mrs. Juon?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Morrissey.
If you'll indulge me just a minute to adjust my minutes for Mr. Morrissey's request, please.
Okay.
Take 2 seconds. Okay, thank you.
All right, Mr. Morrissey.
Mayor.
Yep.
Like to make a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the fund transfers outlined below to comply with state law.
Second.
All right, Mr. Morrissey.
Mr. Mayor, again, my apologies for not calling in, just due to my circumstances alone. But when I had read this over, I just was hoping that Michelle or somebody would be able to explain what all is involved in number 2. In as brief a synopsis as possible.
Well, I'm not sure brief is possible.
Well,
but
if you want to just tell us what these are, not the projects, but what they are.
Yeah, that's what I thought I would do. So the first one, and I'm going to actually kind of read the text that's in the council communication that's attached. So if you want to follow along with that, that might provide you some more background. So under state law, we're allowed to levy certain amounts in addition to the 810 limit. You've all heard me probably talk about the 810 levy during budget time. One of the levies that we use is the employee benefits levy. So we are and when we use a separate levy like that, we're required to deposit it into a separate trust and agency fund and then transfer it to the general fund at year end. We generally do it at year end to cover qualified expenses. So the employee benefits and the emergency levy, both of those are additional levies that as the money is received, it's recorded in the trust and agency fund. Then at year end, it's transferred to general fund to be used to pay qualifying expenses. The next several items are about the debt service fund. So we borrow money using GO bonds for projects that are built in the TIF district. And we certify those to be repaid using tax increment revenue. And this year, the amount of GO bond principal and interest that was paid on those types of projects was the $2,974,428.61. And so we receive, again, the TIF revenue comes in and is deposited to the TIF fund, and then it has to get transferred to the debt service fund because we're required to pay GO debt out of the debt service fund. We do the same thing when we borrow general obligations bonds for sewer. And so that amount is large this year because we did a refunding issue too. $6,577,497.49. That is debt that's being repaid with sewer fees. It was debt that was borrowed for sanitary sewer purposes in prior years. We also, if you remember, we got one of the first Iowa Reinvestment District Fund awards made in the state of Iowa, and we are using the revenue collected from that to pay principal and interest on a bond issue that was used for the Green Hotel. So that amount we collect in the Iowa Reinvestment District Fund, we transfer it to debt service to pay the bond. The next, actually all the rest of them, the transfers, are for items that are being repaid with tax increment financing revenue. So all the TIF revenue is deposited to the separate TIF fund, and then it's used to repay capital projects and other eligible expenses, and we reimburse the fund that they were paid out of. Most of them we pay out of our capital project fund. There are a few others that are paid out of other funds. And I think that's about it, unless you have other questions.
Mr. Morrissey, any other question?
Well, so in other words, all of these dollar amounts and all of the different lines there, those are for amounts that are due by the end of fiscal year 2020.
Yes, they're all amounts that have been spent out of the appropriate fund during fiscal 2020, and now that we've received all the revenues in, we need to transfer them to cover the expenses.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Clerk.
Mr. Amos?
Take your mute off, Mr. Amos.
Yes, sorry about that.
That's okay. Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
Mr. Grieder?
Yes.
Ms. Juon?
Yes.
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Mr. Morrissey.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just, and if the council would allow this, I just want to take that as a lump 9 through 15 to ask the following questions. And then if we could have a motion to approve those in total, if that's possible, Kelly?
So a motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
All right. 9 through 15 has been seconded. What's your question, sir?
My questions are, what of that, now this goes back to A2, I believe, what Michelle just talked about. What's the total amount that goes to Gross Cedar Valley from that, Michelle?
Is that Michelle or no?
So the Gross Cedar Valley amount, last year, we did not receive the paperwork from them to pay all of it in the fiscal 19 year. So actually, part of the amount they were due under their contract for fiscal 19 was paid in fiscal 20. So it's a large amount that we're paying this year, but it spans 2 years. The total amount, I believe, paid is about $145,750. Let me find it here. And that's the amount being paid. Our advances are a little bit different than the amount paid. We're doing those advances to authorize us to do the actual cash transfers in the future. So the numbers while they're related, they don't necessarily correlate because, for example, sometimes for construction projects, we will do that construction over 2 years in the future, but we might pay, so I'll do an advance probably for the whole thing in year one, but you'll see payments covering more than 1 year under the resolution in item 2.
Okay.
So I don't know if that helped or confused it, but.
Yeah. And so what would, and the amount that went to Main Street was just that 40,000, correct?
From TIF revenue, yes.
Oh, okay. And then the last thing is when it refers to the quotes to finance administrative expense, is that?
I'm sorry, Mr. Morrissey, you cut out on part of that. Could you repeat that?
Oh, I'm sorry. It is that there's a phrase in there in 9 through 15 that says to finance administrative expenses. That.
Yes, that covers.
What does that mean?
That covers several things. It covers salaries of planning staff when they work on projects that are located in a TIF district. It also would cover some smaller legal bills and other types of things that are required for something within the TIF district.
And so, Michelle, the council has already approved that in the approved 2020 budget.
Yeah, it's complicated. You have approved an amount in the budget. Now I'm doing an actual advance, which is just, it's kind of a legal hoop we need to jump through to be able to use TIF revenue for these particular expenses. And then we also have to do an actual transfer resolution to approve the exact amount of the dollars. This is for transparency, and it's very transparent because you see every bit of the sausage being made here.
Well, and I appreciate that, Michelle, and thank you for your explanations.
Madam Clerk?
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Boyce?
Yes.
Mr. Grieder?
Yeah.
Mrs. Juon?
Yes.
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
Mr. Amos?
Yes.
All right, thank you. I want to echo Eric Donat's comments a little bit earlier. Melinda M. Anderson and Charles Moon II are both new appointments to the Human Rights Commission. We look forward to their service, and we thank them so very much, and hopefully they're listening and know how much we appreciate them stepping up. Could someone take number 2, please?
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, actually 2, 3, and 4. Sorry about that. Yes, Mr. Morrissey.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the following resolutions. First, a resolution adopting the updated multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan for Blackhawk County. Next, a resolution approving an amendment to the City of Waterloo residency policy by expanding the residency radius for the Leisure Services Department, the Police Department, and Public Works Division to 30 miles from City Hall. And number 4 is a resolution approving the 2021 fiscal year ambulance fee schedule.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. Council discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Bozen.
can I ask why we're doing it from City Hall on the residency requirement and not corporate city limits?
Randy?
And the reason I ask that, I don't mean to interrupt Randy, is the fact that, and I brought this up before, I mean, from City Hall to my house is 5 miles and you're still inside Waterloo.
Randy Bennett, Public Works Division Manager. So one of the things we were discussing during the work session was kind of keeping it uniform to the rest of the policy. So the 30-mile radius was from City Hall to comply with the rest of the policy. But if you were wanting to change that from corporate city limits, I can tell you not only on myself, but the other departments wouldn't necessarily be opposed to that. we just try to keep it simple as far as what the original policy was.
It becomes very difficult for staff to track, I think, if you don't.
I don't know, Michelle. I mean, it's a ruler and a scale. I mean,
Each have addresses. We didn't have addresses and measure it from city limits. It would be difficult.
I know it's more difficult from city limits than it is from city hall, but that's just me.
All right.
But if the department heads are in favor of 30 miles from city hall, I'm for it 100%. But I was just curious because a majority of other cities are corporate city limits.
All right. Council, any other?
And we would be, sorry.
That's all I have, sir.
Council, other questions? Well, I am going to just make a comment because I have no voting authority. I am challenged a little bit by this residency requirement for a couple different reasons, and I know that council has already pretty much had a lot of thought, and I didn't email. But one is you take a look at the overall unemployment rate, which is low for our city. These are jobs, and the city's not in the point of creating jobs for people, but this does move several other jobs for departments in some areas that have not had trouble recruiting people. The forestry position, we've had troubles and challenges. The manager position that Randy has had trouble, so I'm always going to be advocating for local jobs, especially coming off of COVID, and we know there's a lot of unemployment as well. And I guess my other fear is that potentially, you may move from here, but I understand that things need to change, and this has been this way for a long time. And Dave, you've actually lived it, but I do have some concerns about this overall change, and I should have emailed you all, but I am just concerned on several different levels. So, Madam Clerk. Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I had a question first, please.
Yeah, I asked if council had any other questions. Nobody said anything, but Mrs. Juon.
Sorry. I just wondered, and I don't know the answer to this, and maybe Mr. Peterson can tell us, as we're interviewing applicants, if we have two that are equal in training, background, experience, can we give preference to the Waterloo resident?
I don't know. Is there a legal law that says that? I mean, we got veteran preference, but we don't. I'm not aware. He's not aware of anything where there's
and
a
I'm
preference.
not sure that it would be beneficial. I kind of like the idea that this helps us grow towards the Cedar Valley population, not just Waterloo or Cedar Falls or whatever. But if someone was really concerned about wanting to make sure that jobs are extended to Waterloo residents, that might be an option for consideration. Thank you.
All right, Mr.
Mayor?
Mr. Morrissey.
Yes, I just wanted to add something that we've talked about before, not just but that is, increase these, then I want people to live in Waterloo. And I believe that, I'm going to vote for this. I'm going to vote in favor of this. But I do want a policy or some kind of resolution developed, even if it would mean to go to an ordinance that would incentivize all new hires within all city departments to move to within Waterloo by granting them a X amount of dollar benefit for getting housing within Waterloo. We incentivize developers to go into infill properties and that, I think we should incentivize our workforce to live in Waterloo when we're hiring them. And I would just ask for other support from council members on that kind of idea and get that passed so that even though the radius and those miles may increase, we're also telling new recruits that we want you to move in to Waterloo. And we want you to live in Waterloo, and here is one of the benefits that you will get by moving into Waterloo.
All right, Mrs. Klein.
I've never made a secret of the fact that I find this proposal distasteful because I believe in community living. I believe that the people who have jobs here from the city should live in the city. I believe in Waterloo so much, and I know that our housing is so affordable that I don't believe we have to bribe anybody to live here. Nobody bribed me to live here, and I love my little corner of the world. I will support this only because of one thing, because our new police chief has convinced me that we're having difficulty, surprise, surprise, getting qualified applicants for our police department. Now, there are a lot of things going into that. They are under a lot of duress, and they have my complete sympathy. But because of what he said, I will reluctantly vote for this, but I sure would like to rescind it once we get a full house.
Yeah, if I can preface that, because I don't want to give the illusion to that any 535 people working for the city are not qualified or that they aren't meeting the muster. So I just want to qualify that a little bit. Anyone else comments? Madam Clerk.
Mrs. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Boyce?
Yes.
Mr. Grieder?
Yes.
Juon?
Yes.
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
Mr. Amos?
Yes.
And Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
All right, 5, 6, and 7.
Mr. Mayor.
Mrs. Klein.
Number 5 is a resolution approving the contracted education proposal for the Hartman Reserve Stormwater Education Program in the amount of $2,570.31 and authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute said document. Number 6 is a resolution approving the Cloverdale Park lease agreement with the Blackhawk County Board of Supervisors in the amount of $1 and authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute said document. Number 7 is a resolution approving the fiscal year 2021 professional services agreement with Grove Cedar Valley in the amount of $28,500 with $56,500 in potential incentive funds and authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute said document.
Second.
All right, that motion's been made with the second. Council? Council? Madam Clerk?
Mr. Boyce?
Yes.
Mr. Grieder?
Yes.
Juon?
Yes.
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
Mr. Amos?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klein?
Yes.
All right, thank you. 8 and 9, please.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to adopt a resolution approving a request by Steve Tronsky on behalf of CGA Consultants to approve the preliminary plat of Gardner Addition, Lot 2 residential subdivision located north and east of 603 South Hackett Road. And a resolution approving the professional service agreement with Stanley Consultants of Des Moines, Iowa, in conjunction with engineering design services for Park Avenue Bicycle Signal Improvement Project in the amount of $39,908.90 and authorizing the mayor to execute said document.
Second.
The motion's been made with the second. Council? Madam Clerk?
Mr. Grieder?
Yes.
Wait, Mr. Grieder, hold on. Steve Trosky, engineer, Garden Addition preliminary plat. I'm sorry. He was listed on here to speak. Mr. Trosky, did you still want to say something?
I'm just here to answer any questions. It's been great working with the staff. They've been very helpful, so I'm happy to answer any questions the council may have.
I'm sorry about that, Mr. Grieder. Does anyone have any questions? Madam Clerk?
Mr. Grieder?
Now, yes.
Mrs. Juon?
Yes.
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
Mr. Amos?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klein?
Yes.
And Mr. Foyt?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Number 10,
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Foyce?
I'd like to make a motion approving change order number 1 from Peters Construction Corporation, Waterloo, Iowa, to increase substantial completion date from August 7th, 2020 to August 28th, 2020 in conjunction with the 5 Sullivan Brothers Convention Center Exhibit Hall ceiling renovation project and authorizing the mayor to execute said document.
Second.
Council?
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Bozen?
Thank you, sir. I have a question on this. I see it was sent in by Noel. This is getting extended till the 28th of August. Do we have any events scheduled between now and the 28th of August in that exhibit hall?
Noel Anderson, Community Planning and Development Director. That is part of the reason why we're extending this. We're trying to accommodate an event that is scheduled to be in there to stop work during that period. Or find another location for them. So this is giving us a little bit more flexibility to try to accommodate events.
But my question is do we have an event in between that time frame? And is that answer yes?
Yes, it is. Yes.
So well, if that event takes place and that ceiling is being reconstructed, will all life safety mechanisms be in place, sprinkler systems, fire alarms exiting prior to that event taking place? Because I dealt with that when I was the fire marshal. During this construction project?
Yes, to have the event in there, we've been coordinating with Waterloo Fire Rescue. All life safety issues would have to be addressed.
Thank you.
All right, someone else had a question.
It was answered, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Is that a voice vote or all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion's been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.